and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to go over every dollar that I made, every dollar that I spent, and every dollar that I saved and invested, and also talk a little bit about some of the things that I am looking forward to and am being cautious of financially in the month of June. Let's get right into it. Okay, so overall, the month of May was a tough one for me. There was a couple things financially that happened that were not my favorite, but we'll get to that in a second. Income sources, full-time income stays consistent. That was $24.72. Content creation though, this is exciting. So I made $207.81 between YouTube and TikTok in the month of May, which was awesome. The majority of that was actually from TikTok. I did some kind of like video contest that they were running for creators, and that won me $200 from TikTok. So that's pretty much where everything came from there. Trivia, $200. That's usually pretty consistent. Other/gift. So I didn't know how else to put this source, but that was actually from Poshmark sales. So I have been trying to sell some more clothes again, and I was able to sell 2 pairs of shoes in the month of May. And so that got me almost $35. I made $177 from a bartending shift. I bartended a wedding, and I made $61.93 via my interest from like high yield savings accounts. So I have 2 high yield savings accounts that pay me money every month, and that's what that is from. So overall take home pay was $31.53. So I'm pretty happy with that. Moving over to the month at a glance. So this is my handy dandy graph that I absolutely love. There is just something about a graph that makes me so happy every single time. But this month you'll see I spent about $2,000, which is a little more than I was hoping to spend, but you'll see why in a second. And total saved, I was still able to save over $2,000, which is, I really can't complain. And then that brought this month's overall save rate to about 48%, which is still pretty good, and maybe something that we're not going to see again for a little while, because expenses are about to go up for the remainder of the year, but we'll get into that soon. So just looking real quickly at my year at a glance versus my actual spending, you can see the trends for the year. And this is really nice to see. The thing that isn't nice to see though is the fact that May was very, very close to being over budget. All right, now to go over spending. Some good, some bad here. So we'll start with the good part of the housing category. So we are going to be moving, and I talked about this way more in depth in my no buy year recap. And I guess I never mentioned that. If you're new here, I am doing a no buy year, and I'm trying to save $25,000 in 2025. Despite only having about a $50-ish thousand a year income. For the past several months, we have been blessed to be able to live with a family member, and my boyfriend and I also split the cost of rent on top of that. So our cost of living is unbelievably low, and it has been a huge blessing. However, for a variety of reasons, we are going to be moving out. And so we were able to find a house to rent. So we are really excited about that. It seems like a very good opportunity. And it's not outrageously expensive. It's under $1,000 a month, which I know for people that live in cities, that's probably like nothing to you. But I live out in the middle of nowhere. So even paying $1,000 kind of hurts my heart, especially obviously coming from $150. But it'll really only end up being about $500 per person when I split it between me and my boyfriend. And so it's still, honestly, we're still lucky. So trying not to get too like sad about it, because it's like, okay, well, it's just life, right? And the fact that we've had the ability to live with family and to have this incredible living situation, like that, we're so lucky. So I'm just trying to count my blessings there and be grateful for the time that we did have here. And so something though that was incredibly nice of the person that we rent from is they decided to not charge us any utilities this month because of the fact that we're moving out, and they were trying to be helpful towards us in that way, which was very sweet. So I had no other expenses other than the $150 that I pay every month, but you will see this housing category go up probably quite drastically. I would assume that between rent, all of the other things we have to buy for the house, because we are gonna have to buy a couple like appliances and things like that. So that'll be another huge investment in the next month or two. And then of course, higher utilities, paying for an entire house and not being able to split that between so many people and all that good stuff. So this is probably the last month we will ever see this low, but I'm gonna be grateful for it. I am, and we'll see what that looks like in June. Moving on to food. So food this month was not terrible, although I will say I spent way too much at restaurants this month. I was just kind of lazy, honestly, and I also did have a lot of like, I went out with friends a lot. So I met friends for lunch, met friends for dinner, and things like that. So whatever, it's a reality. I'm not trying to be too hard on myself. I was still under budget as a whole, because my grocery budget was a little bit lower, and then coffee was within budget. Alcohol, I spent like I bought one cocktail in the month of May, and then $0 on the garden, which by the way, very excited about. I'm going to be posting a homestead tour soon so you guys can see how everything is going in the garden, and I'm going to be really excited for all the produce and things coming soon that I will hopefully lower that grocery bill even more. Next category is transportation, and this is the one that hurt. It hurt me so bad this month. I had to pay $730 on relatively unexpected car maintenance. So I had thought I maybe had something that needed fixed, and so I took it in, and I haven't taken my car in a very long time. So, you know, it's probably not the most shocking thing that I needed service, and I am grateful that I have not had to spend money on my car for like almost basically since I bought it. I've hardly put any money into it, and I've had this car since 2019 or 2020, somewhere around there. And so I honestly really haven't put much money into it, so it for sure could have been worse, and ultimately happy that I now have a safe vehicle, but a $730 expense didn't feel good. Didn't feel great. But now my car is in perfect working order, and so at least I can rest assured that I'm hopefully driving the most safe version of my vehicle. And then the other thing that I spent, of course, every month on gas, and this was only $73 this month, which wasn't too bad and was well under budget. But yeah, $800 for the actual versus a $215 goal. Not great. Also, my car insurance is going to be due soon, but that will probably be due in June, I believe. No pet category this month. I also spent no money in my wellness category. The only next category that I did spend money in here was on gifts and donations, and so that was $96 for various gifts this month. Then down to the bane of my existence, my student loans at $320, like it is every month for the next decade probably. And personal care items at $14 out of 15. I spent money on hair dye. So I'm going to dye my own hair because I'm tired of these, just what is happening here. It's no thanks. Also, like my hair was red for years, and I dyed it back to my natural color, or tried to, but like you can see, look how much the red is coming through. Yeah, so the red is really trying to make its way back in comparison to my roots. So I will be dyeing my own hair. First time I've ever dyed my own hair, although I may ask my mom to help because she has dyed my hair before. I was gonna do it myself, but honestly, I'm scared even saying that out loud. I was like, nah, never mind. But she will help me, and she will do it for free because, you know, obviously she's my mom. So that should only be a $14 expense versus like a $120 expense if I was getting that done at a salon. So much better budget-wise. And moving on to entertainment this month, I spent $48 on subscription services. I do have a $50 shopping purchase, and I want to for sure explain this one because I pretty much am doing no shopping during my no buy year. This, however, was for a new bra because I needed one so bad. Mine were literally fraying, falling apart, and obviously it's an item that you wear quite often. And so I did purchase a new one of those and will hopefully not have to buy one again for at least the remainder of the year. Hobbies, $13. Honestly don't remember what oh, yep, I do remember what I bought. I bought a Notion template that has a really cute way of tracking national parks, states, and Disney parks or something like that. I don't know. It was like a pack that you could buy. But I thought that was so cute. I hadn't spent any money on anything else hobbies wise, so I was like, you know what? I'm buying it. And I had so much fun playing around with it, so I'm glad I did. And finally, in the miscellaneous category, $120 was spent on my membership for Canva Premium. So I use Canva for so many things, so absolutely this premium is worth it. And then that brings my total spent to just over $2,000. Again, not horrible, but honestly, when I'm looking at this, I'm actually really proud of how I was able to stay this relatively close to the goal budget for the month, given that I had almost $800 of like unexpected expenses and things I was not planning on. So I was proud of myself for kind of adjusting and making sure that I was under in pretty much all my other categories. So yay me, I guess. Pat on the back. And now we're going to go over my savings and investing for the month. So we'll go over my paycheck contributions. This is my Roth 401k. I do the same thing every month. Same thing with my tax-free HSA. I will say I'm considering pulling these down a little bit. I'm having a little bit of a just dilemma in life right now, to be honest with you, where I obviously still want to be saving money and I want to be super thoughtful about it, but I am going so far above and beyond what is necessary in my age bracket. And that's great in regards to, you know, retiring early or being financially independent. And so I'm like riding that line a lot right now between that being my priority or my priority being that I just like want to have fun and spend money on the things that matter to me. So I'm having a little bit of a like moral dilemma with myself right now. So I'm considering pulling down at least my HSA contributions just because those also can like not be accessed for any reason other than health related services or products. So that's like just makes it very difficult if I wanted to ever pull money out. And I mean, 401k is really the same thing. You don't ever want to pull money out of that until you're in retirement. But like an IRA and like a high yield savings account are both way more flexible and you can pull from those at any time. And so part of me, I think also too, with just the uncertainty of exactly what's happening with our housing situation, I kind of want to be in a position to potentially buy a property. Part of me also wants to just like buy a camper or like buy a van to renovate and do like van life trips and stuff. So I don't know. I'm like feeling a lot of ways and I just can't really decide on what I want. And so because of that, I think part of me is like, I just feel like I want to have like a little more flexibility of how I'm saving that money. So I don't necessarily want to change the amount that I'm saving. I would love to try to keep up with this. Although again, June is going to come with a lot more expenses and going forward, like from June, we will probably just have way more expenses. So I don't know how it's all going to shake out, but just thought I would mention that that's kind of where I'm at with all of that in case anybody relates to not knowing what the heck that you want to do or who you want to be in your mid to late 20s. Cause I just feel like I don't know. I can't decide. It's kind of stressful, but it's okay. Anyway, moving on. Roth IRA, $600 contribution, slightly above my goal, which is great. My goal there is to max that out this year. Taxable brokerage account, I ended up putting almost $131 in there. And my high yield savings was $321 this month. I kept a little bit more in my checking account because I have some other expenses coming up in June as well, including a vacation. So I'm trying to make sure that there's a little extra padding in my checking account. That brings my total for savings and investing to a little over $1,900. And so that is over my goal of about $1,500 that I aim for every month. I am still tracking very well towards my goal of $25,000. We'll see how the rest of the year shakes up. But the way I see it, no matter what happens, even if I'm not able to save a single more dollar this year, almost $14,000 is not nothing. And it's surely better than I would have done if I was not being intentional about saving money and was creating these systems for myself. So I really am working on not being so hard on myself, because I mean, seriously, this is a huge blessing to be able to do this. And I need to like just recognize that like, hey, I am doing a decent job, you know? So anyway, that is pretty much it for the month of May and how I'm resetting and planning for June. Like I said, I really think the month of June is going to be very helpful for me to understand how the rest of the year is going to look. We should ideally be in our new home at some point during June. Still actually don't know exactly when that's happening, but we'll figure that out. If you haven't checked out my other video on my general feelings about the month of May on my no buy year, definitely check that out. I have a whole playlist about my no buy year. I've been trying to be really good about making sure that I'm tracking this appropriately, because it has been a whirlwind, man. It's been a roller coaster. So it's been fun to document it as well and bring you all along on the journey, which reminds me, if you're not already subscribed, I would love if you would subscribe to the channel and consider giving this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or found it helpful in any way, so that we can get this video out to more people that may find it helpful or may be interested in the topic. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you so much for watching. Leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed about this video, or how your no buy, or just generally how your finances are going for this year. I love to hear from you. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.